Welcome back. What if I told you? Becoming a millionaire isn't just about working harder. It's about choosing the right industry. Every year, millions of people work incredibly hard, yet never build real wealth. Meanwhile, ordinary people in the right industries quietly become millionaires. It's not luck or magic. It's knowing where the biggest opportunities are. In this video, we're revealing 10 industries that have created more millionaires than any other, and some of them might surprise you. If you're serious about building wealth, don't skip this one. Ready? Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are looking way past the flashy headlines and the superficial products that companies sell to uncover something, well, much more powerful. We're talking about the hidden wealth machines that are quietly minting millionaires right now. Okay, let's dive into this, because what you see on the surface of massive industries is rarely how the real money is actually made. Right now, there are literally millions of people competing fiercely for these high-profile, glamorous jobs in tech, finance, and AI. And look, that's the illusion of where the easy wealth is. But the source material reveals a pretty surprising truth. Some of the absolute biggest fortunes are being built where nobody is looking. They rely on underlying economic philosophies that most people completely misunderstand. You see, it's not actually about the product itself. It's about the invisible machine running behind it. So here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Owning attention and demand. 2. Unavoidable infrastructure needs. 3. Becoming the embedded standard. 4. Using other people's money. And 5. The boring business goldmine. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, owning attention and demand, focusing on media, consumer brands, and luxury. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it governs some of the highest visibility industries in the entire world, and the way wealth is generated here has fundamentally shifted from a century ago. Most people just assume media creates millionaires purely through advertising, but in reality, ads are just a tiny piece of the puzzle. The content isn't the true product. It's simply the tool used to acquire attention. The real underlying asset being built is a privately owned distribution network. Think about it for a second. Once you have an audience that trusts you, you have a captive, incredibly low-cost way to launch products, software, or entire businesses without spending millions on traditional customer acquisition. You aren't renting space from an algorithm anymore. You own the relationship. We're seeing a similar massive shift in consumer brands too. Like 100 years ago, the ultimate wealth machine was owning the factory. If you had the massive capital required to manufacture goods at scale, you won. Today, manufacturing is cheap and incredibly accessible. You can literally spin up a supply chain overseas in a matter of weeks. So the new wealth machine isn't the factory at all. It's owning the demand. Companies like Nike, Apple, and luxury giants like LVMH, they don't actually manufacture most of their own physical products. The physical product has just become a commodity. The true, irreplaceable value lies entirely in owning the customer relationship, the trust, and the recognition, which is exactly what allows them to charge such massive premiums. And that brings us perfectly to the luxury sector, which has absolutely perfected this model through artificial scarcity. Look, once basic human needs are met, people buy signals. So why doesn't Rolex, Hermes, or Ferrari just make more products to meet their overwhelming demand? Because if anyone could just walk in off the street and buy one, the appeal would vanish instantly. No way. The waiting list itself is literally part of the product. You are practically begging them to take your money. By carefully controlling access to status, they maintain this powerful feeling that ownership is earned, creating incredible pricing power and profit margins that just completely defy normal economics. Moving right along to Section 2, the unavoidable infrastructure needs, specifically looking at energy and healthcare. Check out this staggering number, 17%. That is how much electricity demand from data centers surged in 2025 alone, largely driven by the massive AI boom. We all see the flashy chatbots and the sleek software, right? But none of that exists without the physical reality of massive, incredibly energy-hungry data centers. And the biggest fortunes here aren't being built by just selling electricity 1 kilowatt at a time. The real wealth machine is owning the underlying, unsexy infrastructure, the power plants, the transmission networks, and the pipelines. As the entire world races to build the future of tech, the energy sector is just sitting there, benefiting from this massive demand that is practically impossible to avoid. Healthcare operates on a completely different, yet equally unavoidable, infrastructure model. In almost every normal business out there, the customer wants something, they evaluate the price, and they pay for it directly out of their own pocket. But in healthcare, the patient receives the service, while a third party, like an insurance company or the government, actually pays the bill. This completely severs the traditional market dynamic. Because the patient isn't price shopping with their own money, the economic focus shifts entirely away from cost competition and strictly toward access, trust, and convenience. To put that into perspective, that unique dynamic is exactly why U.S. healthcare spending exceeds an astonishing $5 trillion annually. $5 trillion. That makes up nearly 18% of the entire economy. It's not just a massive service business. It is a highly fragmented industry made up of thousands of tiny independent clinics and practices. And this is precisely why private equity firms are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into healthcare right now. They are actively seeking to consolidate, standardize, and scale these fragmented little practices into massive, unavoidable wealth networks. All right, on to Section 3, Becoming the Embedded Standard. Let's look at manufacturing and technology. When you think of industrial manufacturing, massive companies like Caterpillar, John Deere, or Siemens, you might think the money is simply in selling heavy machinery. But the real wealth machine here is becoming the default choice, deeply embedded inside an entire industry. Think about it this way. A massive factory can switch its break room coffee brand overnight with zero friction. But replacing a core machinery supplier? Oh, that means risking millions of dollars in downtime, retraining entire shifts of workers, and passing entirely new safety certifications. Once a company is embedded like that, replacing them feels infinitely riskier than just staying with them. That creates massive, deeply entrenched, recurring demand. And this brilliantly illustrates how the technology and software sector actually operates. When businesses run their entire operations on Microsoft Office, when designers build lifelong careers around Adobe, and when global sales teams organize their entire daily workflows around Salesforce, the software becomes deeply embedded in the very DNA of the business. Because it becomes the industry's default standard, switching becomes incredibly painful, if not impossible. This creates what we call a winner-take-most dynamic, locking in decades of recurring revenue for the few companies that successfully manage to become that standard. That brings us to Section 4, Using Other People's Money. Let's dive into real estate and finance. Almost every industry requires you to use your own hard-earned capital to grow, while real estate completely flips that script, allowing you to build wealth using someone else's cash. An investor can take just $100,000 of their own money and control a $500,000 property. The property generates rent, the tenant is essentially paying down your loan for you every single month, and inflation is steadily pushing those rents higher over time. Then comes the real magic move, refinancing. Instead of selling the property and getting hit with huge taxes, you just borrow against its newly increased value to extract tax-free cash, which you then use to acquire another property. You are multiplying your assets systematically without ever letting go of the original golden goose. Finance takes this leverage a step further. They essentially profit from everyone else's ambition. Every single new factory, software startup, or energy project needs funding to get off the ground, right? Instead of taking the risk of being tied to the success or failure of just one sector, financiers back hospitals, tech startups, and real estate developers all at the exact same time. They make their money in fees and interest before anything even gets built, successfully backing dozens or even hundreds of winners simultaneously. It's a brilliant machine. And finally, Section 5, the boring business goldmine. Let's talk about local services. So the crucial point is this. We've talked about AI, luxury brands, and high finance. But where are the most millionaires quietly being made today? Honestly, you actually need to ignore the flashy startup podcasts. The unglamorous reality is that enormous fortunes are being built right now by local service businesses. These are the companies hiding in plain sight, solving immediate, highly physical problems that absolutely nobody can afford to ignore. We are talking about HVAC companies, plumbers, roofers, pest control, and waste management. Wall Street and private equity firms have quietly spent hundreds of billions acquiring these incredibly boring businesses. And why? Because of guaranteed recurring demand. Think about it. When a pipe bursts in your home and floods your living room, or your air conditioning dies in the middle of July, you aren't spending 3 weeks comparison shopping on the internet or waiting around for a seasonal sale. No way. You call someone immediately and you pay whatever it costs to make the problem go away right then and there. Consider the sheer scale of this for a second. There are over 85 million owner-occupied homes in the U.S. alone. Every single one of those homes represents a continuous, unavoidable stream of mandatory repairs, maintenance, and emergency calls. That is 85 million roofs that will eventually leak, millions of pipes that are absolutely going to clog. Furthermore, this entire market is highly fragmented, made up of tens of thousands of small independent operators, making it the absolute perfect environment for strategic consolidation and massive wealth generation. The ultimate takeaway from our source material today is a profound shift in perspective. While millions of incredibly smart people are out there fiercely competing to build the shiny, speculative, tech-driven future, an enormous amount of reliable, almost guaranteed wealth is being generated right now, simply by fixing the present. We've deconstructed how attention is monetized without ads, how infrastructure guarantees demand, how software embeds itself to prevent switching, how debt is weaponized for systematic growth, and how incredibly boring businesses print cash every single day. The systems are out there quietly operating all around us. So as you look at the economy tomorrow, I want you to ask yourself, which of these wealth machines are you going to build, or will you remain just a consumer of them? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.